So what's going on, guys? And today we're going to be talking about the significance of a house within Black Ops 3 Zombies and the entire zombie storyline as we go into the DLC season for Black Ops 3 Zombies. Now, you may have seen this house referenced a few times during your time of playing zombies. You may have seen a few other people talk about it, but you may not understand exactly what it is and how important it really is. So I thought I'd take the time to make this video to recap over everything we know so far about this house so we can prepare ourselves for even more storyline information in the DLC maps to come. Now, in order to answer the two questions that you probably have saying, what is the house and why is it important, we need to go back to the end of Origins where we complete the Easter egg and get ourselves the ending cutscene. I'll replay that for you now and we'll go over that.
From that day forward, they knew that Samantha would keep them safe. Forever.
Getting everything wrong. I told you before their eyes should be blue.
It's my turn, Eddie. I can do whatever I want.
But you don't even know how to play properly. Girls don't know enough about zombies.
What's the choice of me, children? Make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
You'd better do what your dad says. I didn't even get my turn.
Tomorrow, Eddie. You get to make the rules. I promise. Come on, Fluffy.
I wish the heroes in our stories were real, Sam.
I know what you mean. But we will make everything okay. My dad says he has a plan.
So there we have it, the cutscene that is going to make up the entire story of Black Ops 3 Zombies. We have two children in there, very, very important. Samantha, who we know, and Eddie, who we assume could be a younger version of Richtofen. But any assumptions we've made about this cutscene aren't really valid until we finish playing all of the Black Ops 3 zombie maps, because by DLC 4, we'll have a very, very clear explanation on what exactly that cutscene means. But we only see the bedroom in this scene. We don't see any other rooms in this house, and there is a ton of zombie references, as you guys have very clearly pointed out since you first seen this cutscene. Of course, there's tons of references. We see our four original characters as plastic toys. We see zombies from various maps as toys. The rocket from Ascension. We see like a mystery box. We see just literally so much stuff, which is insane. There's so much stuff in there that it could be an entire video on its own, just looking at all the zombie references, but that's been and done. But one of the most interesting things is actually the posters on the walls. Now, we've seen this poster in Mob of the Dead, and it's also returned in Shadows of Evil, and this poster exists in the bedroom as well. And a lot of people, including myself, have a weird theory that this poster actually relates to Der Eisendrache, which is our first DLC map coming out in around about a month's time, as this map is set on a medieval castle, and we can clearly see this medieval castle in the background of this poster. Pretty self-explanatory that we're going to be getting some more information about this entire story in Der Eisendrache, but this just kind of helps link the fact that this castle is definitely going to have some sort of link with the children. Now, another thing to point out, which is quite interesting, which not a lot of people really think about, and it's true because even this was reminded to me by Jason Blundell, who we were speaking about Dr. Maxis, and in this, as well as every other time we've ever heard Maxis, we never actually see him as a physical human form. We saw him as a human on the Origins intro cutscene, but you never actually physically saw him as a real body. Throughout the entire game of Zombies, you've just heard his voice through different devices and never ever as a physical form. And even in this cutscene as well, you hear him through a speakerphone telling the children to come down to the basement. You can hear what sounds like air raid sirens. Now, these sirens are used to provide emergency warning of approaching danger and sometimes to indicate when danger has passed. Now, these were initially designed and used to warn of air raids in World War II, but these were also adapted to warn of nuclear attacks and of natural destructive weather patterns such as tornadoes. Now, whatever this is in this scene, there's some sort of danger approaching the house, and Maxis already knows about this and is telling them to head down to the basement where it will be safe. Now, we're not sure what exactly is going on here. We don't know what sort of danger is approaching, but like I mentioned, all of this is going to make a lot more sense as we play through all the maps, which I'm very, very excited to hear about. But now let's revert away from the Origins cutscene and now jump into Black Ops 3. We're actually going to jump into multiplayer, to the multiplayer map Infection. Now, I know a ton of you guys know about this, but if you aren't aware, outside of the map, there is a floating house which bears a very similar resemblance to the house that we're talking about with the children. Now, this house isn't exactly the same house as the one that we see in Origins, and I will explain why that is a little bit later on, but the rest of this Infection map contains a ton of zombie Easter eggs, which I think is very interesting and thought it was worth pointing out that we see this house, which is definitely important in the zombie storyline, as well as a map of Doris, as well as a ton of items from Shadows of Evil zombies, such as boxing gloves, as well as a fumigator, as well as signs which are also found in the original Doris map as well. Now, what makes this map even more significant is it's linked to a campaign level where it's very similar in resemblance to a trailer we got a few weeks ago called Nikolai's Memories, where Nikolai is sat out in the forest that you see on the Black Ops 3 Zombies main menu, and then in some parts he transports into a house which you can find in the campaign level, the exact location of the house. Everything inside that house is exactly the same as the Nikolai Memories trailer, and that of course reverts back to this Infection map being a part of that campaign level. Now let's jump into the really awesome stuff, and this is within the Black Ops 3 zombie maps that we currently have, Shadows of Evil and the Giant. I'm going to start with Shadows of Evil as I'm going to make a point here. Now, in the map, you'll find a bunch of different paper scraps, which when put together create this epic image, which seems to be a note written by Dr. Edward Richtofen of a bunch of plans of places he wants to go from the coordinates in each corner, as well as a bunch of stuff to do with time and jumping between all the different universes that now exist, trying to change the events. Now, in the middle, there is a note written, "We are different but the same," which of course is talking about the different versions of himself as well as the other characters trying to fix the events. I must convince the others there is no other way. We all must die. The children will be safe in the house. Now, what's interesting is that whatever the outcome of this is going to be, the characters have to kill themselves in order for the children to be safe in the house. And we have this image of the house which looks very, very similar to the image I just showed you in the multiplayer map Infection. Now, it is very, very similar, but there is one big difference, and that the house in Infection has 2 chimneys, while this house in the paper scrap only has 1. So we can say it's a very similar image and could be a representation of the house, but isn't quite the same. But they look very, very similar. They're both on this floating rock, what seems to appear in the middle of nowhere. And we're not sure how exactly this house can exist, but again, we don't really know the answers to these questions until we play all of the DLC. But very, very interesting that whatever happens, the children will be safe in the house, but the characters have to kill themselves at some point. Now, this paper scrap contains a ton of coordinates relating to locations we could be visiting in the future DLC, and one of those locations is definitely right, as it's very close to the castle that we're going to be visiting in Der Eisendrache, which is going to be very, very cool. Now, the story is Richtofen has spent 2 years between the events of Origins and the Giant, travelling around different universes, trying to collect different pieces needed in order to fix the events of the past. And we know that one of these items that he needs is the summoning key, as it's visible on this little diary entry, as well as the end cutscene for Shadows of Evil where Richtofen comes in and steals the summoning key. So the idea with the Giant is to stop the evil Richtofen from the older timeline, which they managed to do, and now their plan is to find and open the beacon so that Maxis can pinpoint their exact location and time in order to help save the children and to get Richtofen's plan complete. Now, one of the the radios on the Giant, it sounds like the children have suddenly disappeared from the house, and Maxis is really, really missing them, especially Samantha, who of course is his daughter.
Day 66. The children are gone, and the house feels empty. I miss their laughter, their games. The sirens have not sounded for several months. I do believe that we may have turned the tide in the battle. But at what cost? The radiation levels from the fallout remain dangerously high. I can only pray I live long enough to confirm that my plan was indeed successful. And the dark presence that has haunted our dreams and infected every facet of our existence has finally been vanquished.
I want to play a game. Let's play hide and seek. Those were her exact words. Yay, you found one. I can hear her, even now. Wow, you found another one. There must be a purpose to this. I see it. The beacon is lit. I know where and when you are. Sooner or later, I will find you. Together, we will ensure a better future for the children.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, I have one message. One message that must be remembered at all costs. The child must be protected.
Those were a collection of quotes from the Flytrap Easter egg as well as a radio found on the Giant, but there are a few more radios from Dr. Maxis which speak of his fears of Samantha as well as something that Richtofen has done, which is a burden that he's going to carry for the rest of his life, and it's something that the other characters must never know and will never find out on, which is very intriguing. So I'm going to play you those quotes now.
In these dark days, I find myself clinging to the belief that there may still be a way to set things right. Though my understanding of the ethereal realm remains limited, I am convinced that the manipulation of the energy fields within all matter is vital to uncovering the dimensional gateway itself. It is my sincerest hope that somewhere in the realm beyond, my beloved Samantha still lives. I can only pray that Edvard will have the courage to fulfill the vow he made all those years ago. She may have been returned to me, but I fear she is not as she was. In recent months, she has barely said a word. When she did, it was only to cry out for him, to call his name. What have I done? I thank you for your sacrifice, Edvard. Your courageous actions have opened new avenues of opportunity. It is my dearest hope that we may one day set things right and prevent these terrible events from ever unfolding. Remember what I told you, Edvard. The scars left by Samantha's past actions allow us to communicate across the rift. Follow my words. I will find you. When you release the beacon, I will secure your extraction and destroy the site. Remember, the burden is yours to carry, Edvard. The others must never know the truth.
Such awesome storyline information hearing in that quote. Now, what's also important in this is not only Richtofen a main character involved with the children, but somehow Takio is as well, as he has some dreams of the children and the house that we're speaking about in this video.
Why do I think I saw this in a dream? My dreams are haunted by spirits. I fear they are not those of my ancestors. A most unfortunate turn of events. The death of the German is regrettable. I fear the path ahead may be more treacherous than before. You have a great disdain for the German. Why does your hatred run so deep? He is a troubled soul. I can see it in his eyes. But a monster? I think not. We know not of the journey Richtofen has taken. He may hold more wisdom than you realize. Weird describes much of what Richtofen does. We know not where Richtofen has traveled, but I believe his experiences have changed him. Mysteries will reveal themselves in time. They always do. This is the nature of our quest. German, your actions defy reason, but you seem driven by a sense of purpose.
I don't have time to explain now, but I have a message for you. A message from the Emperor.
What do you know of the Emperor? It has been so long. I feared he had abandoned me, forgotten me.
You have not been forgotten, Takeo. Stay strong, and your path will become illuminated.
I do not understand your riddles, German. How will my path become illuminated?
The spirits of your ancestors are not the only voices you will hear, Takeo. Trust your instincts. Listen to them.
Last night I had a dream. I dreamt of a house with children.
Yes, hold on to that thought, Takeo. In time, you will come to learn the significance of your visions.
So somehow Takeo plays a pretty important role in the house and the children. How and why exactly he's dreaming about it, we're not too sure, because as it stands right now, we know that Takeo has had no interaction with the house. So how exactly he's dreaming about it, we aren't too sure. But that's all we know so far about the house and the children in Black Ops 3 Zombies. As we get more DLC maps, including the Eisendrache and any future ones, we will definitely be able to tell a lot more about the story. And of course, I'll be bringing it to you guys, so make sure to subscribe to that. But by the end of the 4th DLC map, it will explain exactly what the Origins cutscene means. Once that map is out, the entire Origins cutscene will make 100% complete sense. I'm going to leave this video with a message on the end for you guys, and it simply is, don't assume anything, because whatever you assume counteracts certain assumptions, and that is completely to do with the Origins cutscene. Now, just before we end this video, I'd like to tell you about a website called Opinion Outpost. This is a free to join website where you can fill out surveys of stuff that we are into, such as games, films, TV shows, and they pay you for doing so. Sounds like a no-brainer for me to bring this to you, as you guys can earn money from filling out surveys, and this money can be put towards buying the season pass for Black Ops 3 or buying separate map packs for zombies. So I thought it would be awesome to share with you guys, so make sure to click the link down below, the first one in the description, to take you over there and sign up. But thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on another one very, very soon.